Welcome to Momivate Momversations on Win-Win Women platform, where we women gather to care, connect, and collaborate. Truly a win-win for us all. I'm your hostess, Reagan Barnes, mom of eight, and founder of the nonprofit organization Momivate. We empower you to elevate your mothering experience. We need to excuse our guest, Alicia Troutwine. She had a scheduling conflict arise, but we are so glad to see you. You are here with us, Mom, and we are so glad to have you. We welcome you into the Mama Vate community, or Mom Unity, as we like to say. We are moms united in our passion to create a better world. Join us and become a Mom Unity member. It's free on our website, momavate.org, and together we'll constructively evolve motherhood into the 21st century, meeting the needs of our children while elevating our mothering experiences. Here at Momavate, we answer the question, what do moms do? With this uplifting statement, moms raise up society. That's right, not just our own kids, but all of society, including ourselves. This acronym is jam packed with the far reaching impact of intentional mothers who strive to improve and progress in these areas of motherhood. We're not just chauffeurs and short order cooks. As we take on the repetitive, loving work that shapes our children, it shapes us too. And it makes an impact that goes beyond our homes. Because as moms, we are uniquely positioned to influence society one on one. Today, I'll be doing a monologue and focusing on the schedules and systems category of this acronym. And we'll even get more narrow and dig into a specific subcategory of daily routines. This is an area that has not come easily to me. I'm a rather free-spirited gal, and I enjoy the freedom to be spontaneous and do what I like instead of what's on the schedule or the list. So I will do my best to share things from my perspective and how my motherhood has been strengthened as I've allowed the scaffolding of daily routines to serve their purpose. I am sad not to have Alicia here, as I'm sure many of you are as well. However, she is a fellow show host here on Win Win Women, so feel free to visit her show called Unmasking Autism. It's on Channel 2 on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Her archived recordings are also on the Win Win Women website, and I want to recommend her episode from February 23rd called Why Routines Are Crucial for Autistic Children. I feel like her perspective about daily routines would be so very valuable because she's a mother with autism and her children, some of them have autism. And so they really thrive when a schedule is being adhered to. It drives their family's prevention of autism related behavioral issues and has various other benefits. Now, not all of us are on the spectrum and not all of us have children who are, but I feel confident that we can gain many of the same benefits that come from creating that rhythm in our days and helping our children know what to expect next and just developing within them that innate ability to follow schedules and systems. These are parts of life. That will come in really handy when they go to school, when they have work, careers, things like that. So we are going to go ahead and turn off the slides at this moment. And we are going to just have a chat about these things. So let's see, I grew up the daughter of a single mother, which really influenced our home dynamics in such a way that we didn't really have much structure in terms of schedules and systems beyond getting up and ready for school. So after school and during the summer, we just did a lot of fending for ourselves and deciding for ourselves what we were going to do. Now, this seemed to work just fine with my creative personality that was always coming up with ideas and wanted to delve right in and accomplish that fun new idea and not have the obstacle of what some authority person decided I should be doing instead. However, the lack of supervision, the lack of gentle reminders, um, suggestions of what to do next meant it took considerably longer for me than it might have to like learn good habits and build self-discipline to accomplish my goals. So I confess that even now as an adult, I still prefer to do what I feel like doing instead of doing what needs doing. And I still value my spontaneous personality. And I feel like it adds a special spark to our family. So even though I will be describing my gradual acceptance of the necessity for schedules and systems and daily routines, I am coming from the angle that I've learned that it's not all drudgery and schedules and systems can handle the flexibility that a personality like mine sees as more fun. So when I was pregnant with my second child, I attended free parenting classes at the Children's Center. Shout out for those. If you have Children's Center near you, make use of those classes. I am so grateful for how convincing they were about how children really crave the security of schedules and systems. And I do believe that my oldest child had a different personality than me and needed those schedules and systems. They, the Children's Center people, they like won me over when they talked about how this would be a preventive measure in terms of like disciplinary issues. So at the time, my oldest was about to enter the terrible twos. And I had heard, of course, how bringing a new baby into the picture could contribute to tantrums and other behaviors. So I was all ears for how to prevent or at least manage this stage of life more effectively. Um, However, it also meant that I needed to be willing to follow whatever schedules and systems that I, as the mom, would be instituting. And this really was a challenge for this free spirited mama. But what won me over even further was realizing that my own sanity as a mother would be preserved as I put into place these tools to manage my home and my family. So I feel like a good visual is realizing that morning and bedtime routines and chores, routines like chores, and with regards to screen time, the whole family technology, those kinds of things, they are like the rock walls of a castle. They create boundaries that offer safety and strength. And yes, sometimes you lower the drawbridge and you cross over the moat and you go ahead and explore and have other opportunities and fun times. But really, we do need the safety and strength that the rock walls of a castle offer us as a family. I do want to kind of give a warning that running the household's itinerary is a matter of taking time to plan as well as actually carry out the various endeavors. So I'm just going to be straightforward about this, Mom. Creating, tweaking, implementing systems that manage chores, screens, friends, homework. This can easily take up 2 to 4 hours per day, no matter how many children you have. Now, I mean, you're also going to be adding events to the schedule and ensuring the timely arrivals to the various destinations. You'll be doing a lot of chauffeuring. You're like a free Uber driver, you know? So I kind of want to start by making sure we're thinking about the same thing when I say schedules and when I say systems. So let's just give some definitions here. Schedules are how we structure our time. Sometimes it's repetitive in nature, like we might say, we go to church every Sunday, or you have gymnastics practice on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or and then there's times that are just more like one-off type things, like you might have a dentist appointment, and that's what, every 6 months or something, or you might have a concert that is coming up. So those all kind of fit into the schedule. Calendaring is really another good term for that. Now, systems are all about the nature of how we interact as a family. It's routines that we employ to manage our household, and systems work best when they are implanted into the schedule. So I just want to reiterate how great these things are for kids. Some of the benefits are helping our children feel confident. The systems and schedules can teach values to our kids. It can help our kids navigate change, which, as they say, change is the only constant. So if our kids are more able to navigate when changes come up because of how they've seen mom pivot in moments of necessity, I think that in that way too, it can help our children feel less stressed. We can use our schedules and systems to pass on ethnic or religious heritage by celebrating certain holidays or that sort of thing. Overall, it just helps our kids feel safe and secure and comfortable. And interestingly, it leads to them feeling more independent. So that might sound a little paradoxical, but it makes sense when you see the overall picture of it. So the repetition and predictability of routines also fosters learning in our children. I mean, sometimes you can just see their little brains growing when they get used to the repetition and predictability of the routine. It helps the kids learn to be self-sufficient. It teaches them practical skills. And again, it teaches them problem solving because life doesn't always go according to schedule. Now, as moms, we are like doctors that diagnose a problem and find solutions through implementing different schedules or systems. These are tools that will lead to the best results for that particular diagnosis. And again, I just want to repeat how the order that comes into our home that helps us be organized and adapt our day will just help us so much as moms not feel scattered. So let's take a few minutes to talk about the principles involved in creating a schedule or a system. Now, I cannot take credit for these. I was blessed to have Cindy Thompson on my team, and she is a organizer, like professionally, she does organization. And she was able to use those skills to teach how to put together schedules and systems. So first you have to gain a vision. What is your vision ahead for what you want your home life to be like? What do you want to accomplish? Is there a time of day or specific activity that just isn't working, that where you feel chaotic and crazy? Set goals and to improve that time and your time together with your kids, and set a goal or a vision of how you can run your household more smoothly. Know your purpose and what you want to have happen in your home, and set those goals based on what you want to achieve. So then you take those goals and that vision and you make a plan. You choose a schedule or system, maybe you've heard another mom talk about, but you figure out what resources you will need to use and how you can individualize that to your family, because even if you've heard another mom talk about it, you're working with your own set of personalities and circumstances, and it's just something that you have to be able to individualize. And then figure out what you need. If there's maybe you need to go out and buy a calendar or a big whiteboard or whatever is going to work for your family. So in order to reach that goal, you need to put it on your calendar. So as I was saying, your systems and your schedules are intertwined in that way. In order for your systems to be effective, they have to be on your schedule. So decide when your plan will begin. Set a length of time for when you'll be using that system. Where will it happen? Will it be, in the kitchen? Are you making a system for how to clean the kitchen or whatever? Discover what tools you'll need and how will you monitor what your plan is. Write it down, talk with your family about it. They might have ideas too, and they like to be involved in the figuring it out side of things. And of course, got to move forward. Ready, set, go. Implement that new schedule or system. And remember that you're working to create lifelong habits to help your family life run smoothly. And it'll make it more fun eventually and require less effort after the period of implementation is over and it has become more routine. And finally, you really do have to follow through. Well, this is just one of my obstacles, I will admit. I really love the ideas and creating the idea of a system, but the follow through is a weakness of mine. So some ideas is to have incentives, both for myself as the mom, but also for my kids. Being able to inspire the children to be self-monitored so that it's not really just about mom cracking the whip, but that the kids themselves will have those self-leadership skills. Now, there's this phrase I learned in Russia. I had the chance to be a missionary there. It goes, and it means repetition is the mother of learning. And I don't think it's coincidental that they chose the word mother. Motherhood is full of repetition, and it is how our children learn. So as annoying or frustrating or boring as it can be to be willing to repeat ourselves over and over, let's embrace it. Let's be gracefully patient about our children's need for repetition. And let's just keep in mind that consistency and dependability are what lead to responsibility and stability for our kids. We want them to grow to be reliable. So now, as the final point, of course, you're going to have to make adjustments. No matter how well fine-tuned your plan was and that you thought it would lead directly to your vision, the fact is success needs to be measured and it most often falls short. And so being willing to go in and tweak things and adjust things and take into account things that you didn't even think about until you were trying to implement it and then you realized whatever obstacles were in the way. But just focus on your family values and try to make it fun. I know for me, part of making it fun includes singing a song about whatever it is that we're doing, making up a song. So for instance, my 4-year-old is very interested in buckling her own seatbelt. And this can be very hard for me because it takes her like several minutes when it would just take me a few seconds. But I do want her little seatbelt neurons to be going and not feel the pressure of mom being like, So we do have to leave out the door a couple minutes earlier to give her that time to buckle her seatbelt. And to kind of mask my frustration and impatience, I do a little chant while she's working on buckling her seatbelt. I say, turn around, sit down, get buckled. And even though initially I started doing that because I was otherwise just going to get upset and potentially yell, and I don't want to be a yelling mom. Um, Luckily, she has taken on to this chant and she's decided it's really fun. And so she'll just chant right along with me while she's turning around and sitting down and getting buckled. And I'm glad that I kind of diffused my own bomb of frustration by making up that little chant. So I'm going to go ahead and take these last 6 or 8 minutes to share some sample daily routines. Now, what happened for me, I was pregnant with my 5th child, I believe, and a woman that I admired passed away, and I decided to go to her funeral. And while I was there, I met her daughter, and her daughter was one of 14 children. And I just revealed to this woman, the daughter, how overwhelmed I was with just 4 kids at the time, and that I couldn't picture what life was going to look like now that I was bringing this 5th baby. I mean, I was thrilled. I wanted my 5th baby, but I was really concerned. And luckily, she was willing to come over and share what life was like, how her mom managed having 14 kids. Even though it was never my goal to have 14, I just needed help at that stage of my life. So she shared what her mom called the high 5. And it was 5 things every kid needed to do to get their day started in the morning. So it was a morning routine. And then they came to their mom to report, and she gave them a high 5. So the incentive was fun enough for those kids. They wanted the high 5, you know, what do they say? Slap some skin with your mom. But it got them going in the mornings. And so again, like I said, we as moms, we need to tweak things and make them for our individual circumstances. And so it turned into the great 8 with my family. So whether you do 5 things on your morning routine or 8 things, and how you do the incentives is up to you, but just determine how you can get your kids going in the mornings. We do not require that they do the great 8 in any particular order. And this is helpful because one of the great 8s is your bathroom business. And of course, with as many people in the household as we have, you can't always get into the bathroom when you want. So instead of letting that be a stalling point, you just move on to whatever other grade 8 stuff you have. So, so the grade 8, I'll just tell you, I'll actually sing you the song. Tidy bed and bedroom, all my bathroom business, fresh clothes and neat hair, that's half of my grade 8. PGS devotional, service, and breakfasts. When all of these are done, that's all of my grade 8. It makes my morning great. So there you go. Those are our 8 things that they need to do in case it doesn't make sense to you. The word PGS is for personal gospel study. So we encourage them to read their scriptures or pray in the mornings. And then we also do a family devotional. And then number 7 is called the service. And that's the idea of them thinking outside of themselves and what can I do to help the rest of the household. I have an older batch of kids and a younger batch. And so often the service is helping one of the younger kids accomplish their grade 8. Right now, my twins take care of everybody's hair. That's really nice. As an example of a service that's often offered, or helping with breakfast or whatever. So we also have a nightly 9 for our bedtime routine. Very similar things. As they prepare for bed, they need to participate in family prayer. And that's our point of turning off any technological devices also. They need to do their bathroom business, and that also would include teeth brushing. They go get their pajamas on. We encourage them to journal, but we don't. The one important thing about knowing my personality as a flexible personality is that I don't do a lot of strict like enforcement. I encourage, but I don't get upset necessarily. If in certain parts that, like journaling, for instance, I really try to help my kids know that there's benefits to that, um, and give them ideas what they could journal about. But it doesn't happen for many of my children. And then we also have a system called priorities books. So they get that stuff initialed off. They need to plan and prepare for tomorrow, which is something I didn't think about till I was an adult. They need to clean up their clothing and say their personal prayers. So those are our nightly 9. A lot of schedules and systems revolve around meals. And this is actually important, not just for physical well-being to have food in our tummies, but it really is critical in terms of our emotional and mental well-being and stability. You know, the funny little commercials about, I'm sorry for what I said when I was hungry, because when you're hungry, you're more often moody or angry. And it goes beyond that, though. Also, mealtime is a time for children to practice obvious chores, like, oh, look, there's a mess from me eating something. I need to clean up my mess. So things like that. So we've simplified our meals for a lot of reasons. And we have systems in terms of the meals, even with regards to meal planning. We also have schedules and systems with regards to chores, but we noticed that the word chores was just working wrong feelings into the system. So we actually call it Bless Our Home. And that is taken from the Fly Lady. So we just want our kids to understand that this isn't just for the sake of mom getting to boss you around, but rather it's more pleasant in our home when it's cleaner. And so let's bless our home by cleaning it up. Then we have the concept of family economy. So this is how kids can earn funds. And it's kind of a complicated little system. And again, because I'm not willing to take on the role of enforcer a lot of the time, it doesn't always happen. But the kids know that in order to earn their funds, they need to be up to date on these particular things. And so that's one of the built-in enforcements, so to speak. And then we've got screen time systems. Next week, I just want to put a plug in for our guest next week. She runs a website called Better Screen Time and has opportunities to teach parents a lot of times, like through school systems and stuff, of how to manage this, which our parents never had to do. I'm kind of jealous, right? I mean, they had to tell us to turn the TV off after Saturday morning cartoons, but the multitude of screens can just be overwhelming. So finally, there's things like family traditions. So it's the kind of scheduling things that come up less often, but you want to have a system in place of how we can integrate those traditions. And then they don't catch us off guard, you know? So we are gonna things up and turn back on the slides. So I just want to encourage you, if something has caught your attention, to write it down. Writing it down is how you make an action plan, and it helps you lead from one little gear moving as you've written it down to another way to far-reaching impacts. So this half hour's gone by so fast, but it's time to end the recording and start our live interaction with our viewers. So if you've watched this as a recording, thank you for watching, and be sure to catch our live show every Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific time So you can participate also in the second half hour where we continue the conversation directly with you, unrecorded. We want to include you in the discussion. That's how Win Win Women TV is unique. We care, we connect, we collaborate.